Hello everybody and welcome back to Recorded Words and Pages. My name is Natalie and today I have my July TBR for you all. So this TBR has ended up being much bigger than I originally intended it to be. I'm getting ambitious and maybe rightfully so, maybe, but you know, I don't really know. Also, I'm on vacation, hence noises and change of background. So yes, let's get into the books now because there's a lot of them. Starting with books that I want to read for read-alongs, book clubs, that type of stuff. First up for the Witchlands read-along hosted by Jade at TBR Reads is Blood Witch by Susan Better. This is the third book in the Witchlands series, which follows Safi and Isolde, who are blood sisters. And Safi is a truth witch, which means she has the power to discern truth from life, which she keeps a secret. And you know, Safi and Isolde, they get up to a bit of trouble. And then one day, Safi is basically found out because there in this world exist blood witches who can, like, they sniff you, they can tell what your magic is, and someone catches a whiff of Safi and he starts hunting her, and then they have to go on the run. And also in the Witchlands is the end of a 20-year truce, and it looks like war is about to break up. And it's a multi-POV fantasy just filled with politics and magic, and it's amazing. It's also very confusing, and I have many theories, so I'm very excited to continue reading the series with Blood Witch to see if any of my theories are indeed true. And I will leave the announcement video for that read-along down in the description box. Next up for read-alongs is Graceling, which is by Kristen Cashore. This is part of the Graceling Along read-along, which I will again link the announcement video for down below. And I'm not 100% sure what this book is about, but I think in this world we're following people who have graces, which is basically like talents and something. And our main character has a grace for killing people, and she decides she's not going to use this because, like, she's special because of it or something like that. And then some guy shows up who's like this shadowy figure, and he appears to have the same grace as her. Confusion, basically. So yes, I'm excited to read this one. It's much of a more classic YA fantasy. Like, this series has been around for a really long time, and it's a much beloved one. So I'm really excited to read it. So for my classic of the month, I have two options. The first one I'm considering is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, only because I want to read a classic right now, but I don't have access to the other classic I was going to read. And this is definitely one that has intrigued me a lot. Something about books being burnt. So Fahrenheit 451 is a short novel set in the future where firemen burn books forbidden by the totalitarian, I've been having a lot of trouble figuring out how to say that word, Brave New World regime. The hero, according to Mr. Bradbury, is a book burner who suddenly discovers the books are flesh and blood ideas and cry out silently when put to the torch. I don't know, it sounds interesting. I've heard good things, I've heard bad things. And if I don't read that, then I'm going to be reading Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And in this book we follow our main character who marries this man and basically moves to his house, and then things are kind of weird because, like, his late wife Rebecca has a really strong presence. So I've heard like nothing but good things about that one. So yeah, continuing on with my read of The Cosmere will be Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, and I don't know, I'm really excited to read this one. This is his first one, and people say it's not his best, but like, I have high hopes for it because it's Brandon Sanderson. What can really go wrong? And in this book, we're following Elantris, which used to be this beautiful city because there were godlike beings who had mysterious power and used that to benefit the people of the city. And then Elantris, like, died, basically. Then a princess from, I think, a neighboring kingdom comes to the new capital to marry the prince, but he's dead when she arrives, so she's considered his widow. And then there's another city who's threatening them, who has a high priest and wants to convert the empire and claim it for the emperor and the god. And the girl is what stands alone in his way, and there's a mystery with the prince, and yeah, something with Elantris. Kind of confusing, but you know, I have faith in Brandon Sanderson, and I've heard like nothing but good things about this one as well. So yeah, I mean, like, I've heard that it's not his best, but it's also like good. Another one that I am just pumped to read is Waking Gods by Sylvain Nouveau. And yes, this is the sequel to Sleeping Giants, which I read originally in April and then reread just a few days ago. And in Sleeping Giants we follow Rosie, who falls into a hole one day, but in the hole she's meant to be sitting in like the hand, this metal hand, and then like 17 years later Rosie is put on the team of people working to like try to figure out what this hand is, and it's told in mixed media format, mainly through interviews with this like mysterious knowing person, and it's great. It's great. Sleeping Giants is one of my favorite books of the year so far, and I'm so excited to continue with the sequel just because I don't know how to describe it, but this Sleeping Giants, of course, particularly, it just is smart. Like, I can't explain it, but it's just so smart, and I want to figure out, like, the whole truth, and, like, I feel like something's gonna happen, so, well, really, something's gonna happen, Natalie. It's a trilogy. There's 2 more books in the series. Of course something's gonna happen. Okay, but yeah, okay. I'm very excited to do this, and yes, I'm discovering I really like science fiction, so excited to continue to explore that, especially the next one I'm planning to read, and that is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. So I've heard more mixed things about this one, but it's kind of like a sci-fi staple, kind of. So in this one we follow Rosemary Harper, who joins the crew of the Wayfarers, and she isn't expecting much. The patched up ship has seen better days, but it offers her everything she could possibly want. A spot to call home, a chance to explore the far-off corners of the galaxy, and some distance from her past. And nothing could be further from what she's known than the crew of the Wayfarer. From Sussex, the exotic Italian pilot, to Kizzy and Jenks, the chatty engineers who keep the ship running, to the noble Captain Ashby, life aboard is chaotic and crazy. Exactly what Rosemary wants. This is until the crew is offered the job of a lifetime, tunneling wormholes through space to a distant planet. Sure, they'll earn enough money to live comfortably for years, but risking her life wasn't part of the job description. The journey through the galaxy is full of excitement, adventures, and mishaps for the Wayfarer team. And along the way, Rosemary comes to realize that a crew is a family, and that family isn't necessarily the worst thing in the universe, as long as you actually like them. So, I don't know, it just seems like it's going to be a charming story, and a good way to continue to figure out what I like in sci-fi, and if space exploration, like, set in space, is something that I do. Changing directions a bit and going to some more romantic-centered options. First up is Punk 55 by Penelope Douglas. And in this one we follow Ryan and Misha, who have been pen pals for a long time. They got paired up by their teachers, and I want to say 4th grade, and have continued their pen palship ever since. Except for they have the rule they do not try to find each other in real life, and then Misha moves to Ryan's school, figures out who she is, and realizes, I hate her. And it's the romance between the 2 of them. This is probably the Penelope Douglas book I've heard the most about. Penelope Douglas is of course famous for her more taboo, slightly dark romance stories, and I'm very excited to be giving this one a go. Continuing on the theme with romance, but shifting a slight bit to fantasy romance, is The Heart of the Fae by Emma Ham. In this book, the synopsis has a lot of words I don't know how to pronounce. So we follow main character Sorsha, who has to travel to the dangerous Fae because a plague is sweeping across her home, I think. And she has to find a forgotten king who is Aemon, maybe, and he's been cursed, and crystals grow from his wounds, splitting open skin and bone. And his people banished him, and she has to come and break through his shell and persuade him to take back his stolen throne. And it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so they're gonna fall in love. I've heard a lot of really great things about Emma Ham as a fantasy romance author, and as she mainly writes retelling. I think I've heard that Beauty and the Beast is one of her favorites to rewrite. So as I continue on my journey to read the Bridgerton series, next up is Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, which is the 4th book in the series, and this is Penelope and Colin book, and I have no idea what this book is about. I'm just going to assume it's about Penelope, who's always really liked Colin, and Colin, who has been more ambivalent towards Penelope and their romance. So, yep, don't have a whole lot more to tell you about that one. I want to finish the Briar U series, which is by Elle Kennedy. I have 2 books left in the series. Really enjoying them. They're hockey romances set in college. They're a good time. I'm really enjoying them, so I'm excited to read the final 2. 2 more that I want to read. First up, and I don't know a whole lot about these, first up is The Power of Hades, which is, as one may assume, a Hades and Persephone retelling, and I don't know much about this one. And then also Touch of Darkness, which is another Hades and Persephone retelling. So these are 2 more that I am quite interested in reading, as I've heard great things about them, and they're both fantasy romance. And now we're going speed mode. No synopsis, not really talking a lot why I want to read them. let's just go through. First off, Iron Queen, which is the third book in the Iron Face series by Julie Kagawa. It's a series I want to continue, and I feel like now is the time to do it. The Beauty of Darkness by Marion Pearson. I read the second book in this series last month, and this is one I just want to finish. I don't love the series. I really enjoyed the first book and did not like the second book, so we'll see where the third book ends up. Sweet Evil by Wendy Higgins. This is more of a paranormal romance, kind of, I think, Twilight-esque, kind of, writing that craze. This is a kind of strange one for me to picking up, so I'll just quickly explain that. At home, I have this poster where it's basically like 100 of the most popular YA books, and like the point is like you read each book and then you like scratch it off, and so yeah, this is just one of the ones on that poster, so I figured, why not? Gossip Girl by Cecily von Singazar? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not quite sure why I'm gonna read this one. It caught my eye, and I do like my drama. And then, welcome to Rosie Hopkins' Sweet Shop of Dreams. I read another book by this author about 2 months ago. Loved it. Very excited to continue on. I feel like this is going to be charming and adorable. And finally, I'm planning on doing a 24-hour readathon and rereading the Click series. So yeah, I'll probably be reading all 14, 15, or 19 of those, I think, if you count the novellas. Or 20. There may be 20, including the novellas. But yeah, so I'm planning on doing that this month too. So that is my very large, very ambitious July TBR that maybe I'm a bit scared of, because of course that isn't all the books I'm going to read this month. I have more. It's 3 days into July, and I barely read anything. So yes, it's a mess, but you know what? We're working with it. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Down below will be links to all of the books I talked about. And Lord knows there's a lot of them. Also linked down below will be my Goodreads and my Bookstagram if you want to also follow me there. Subscribe to see more content from me, and I will see you all again in my next video.